We call it the family visit, and in whichever prison I was in Nairobi County, it is done 3 times a year. So every holiday, or once a year, every holiday, the kids or the families, the wives, the husbands, the aunties, they come and visit the prisoners, spend a day, and it is a very good reintegration process. It's a good process of the parents knowing their kids, are they doing well? Where they are not doing well, we have social workers, and they can see whether they can be able to help them in one way or the other, or the chaplaincy services. So that is one. And the other one is the famous beauty pageants. And let me tell you, I almost lost my job. And for me, because I love beauty, because I am a woman. And in Langata, we would receive very young girls, let me say from K Street. So as we begin with the spiritual rehabilitation, the next thing that was there in prison is that there were no combs. Can you imagine women not combing their hairs? And so they would funga, she talked about the kitambas, because they can't comb their hair. The women, we don't shave.
Those 5 lines.
Yeah, and they were only allowed kushuka laini zile tano, eh? You know them, habari mama. Zile, they are called habari mama, those ones. That's the most they could do. And they used to use small pieces of sticks to kata the laini, eh? Sticks. They would collect sticks within the prison, and that's what they would use. And they would not even have even hair oil. They would not have any lotion or anything. So that's how I came up with a partnership with Vera Beauty College, and they came in and we started training for both inmates and both members of staff. And the culmination of that was that beauty pageant. And it was wonderful to see the beauty, not just the outer beauty, but also the inner beauty, because they were taken through a process of etiquette, of building their esteem, confidence, and by the time they catwalk and model, don't think it's easy. It's not so easy if I call you today and tell you to just walk here. So it's a training, it's a process, and we saw we saw what it did to the inmates. And we also used those who were working in the tailoring section to design. We gave them an opportunity to design. You saw some of the clothes. Design and have your own model, dress her up, and then they can showcase. So that's basically what I also did. I also looked at the population that comes to prison. Most of them are young people. So when you bring in a young people and you tell him, I want you to be a carpenter, I'm sure the young people in Kenya don't want to be carpenters. Ni kweli? They don't. So I saw what was happening out there in the entertainment industry. So I started a talent development program in the prisons. And here, the prisoners have an opportunity to sing, if you can dance, if you can act, whatever talent you have. We allow them, and we try to link them up out there with those individuals who can be able to develop them once they are released back to community. So, and several others, yeah.
Well, a lot of good things happening within our prison walls, and we thank God for that. And right now, as you and I are sitting here, there are some of our brothers and sisters behind bars, but very busy in their education. And it's a great honor this afternoon to have Mr. Peter Ouko with us. If you would join us up on stage. Those of you who watch Church Hill on Sunday saw him. And he will tell us himself. Okay. Usimwogope. Yeah. So from what I've gathered, you had been sentenced to death, actually, and you've been in prison how many years?
I was sentenced to death in 2001, and I've been in prison for 18 years.
For 18 years?
Yeah.
At Kamiti Maximum Prison?
I was in Kamiti for 2 years. Then for 1 year, I went to Naivasha for 1 year. Then for the next 16 years, I've been in Kamiti.
So are the things Madam is telling us that are happening there really happening? I mean, I watched a little bit of what you shared on Churchill, and you said when you first went in, the big push was punishment. And then Uncle Moody came in with correction and rehabilitation. And now we're in a season of empowerment. How have you used that opportunity? How did you use that opportunity?
First of all, allow me to thank you and the Global Leadership Summit for inviting me to this forum, and for Madam Wanini for allowing me to share her session with her. I also want to acknowledge your former boss, Mr. George McGoy. I've met him somewhere along here. But the basic thing I wanted to say was that when I went into prison in 1998, what she said, I don't need to repeat it. It was horror. I stayed in a 8x7 room. We were 14 of us. Prisons was congested. You know, I'm very tall. I'm about 6 feet tall. And sleeping on one side, I had to put my leg on another person's chest on the other side. And if you woke up at night, you'd lack somewhere to sleep. So you all have to agree on what time, if you want to take a leak or something, how you do it. And so at that time, there were no beddings, there were no mattresses. It was just crazy. You know, and we got to develop this to hard, you know, because of sleeping on the hard floor. But God was there for us. You know, the only place you fear is where there is no God. And God saw us through all that. And we keep praying that God's word would be fulfilled within when we were still in that prison. Because we knew committee had a name, it had a reputation. And the challenge was, are we going to live that reputation? Or are we going to live what God expects of us to live and to glorify him? So we got to that realization, and committee moved. You know, Madam has walked this journey. She said everything, you know. And what she's saying, she's been our mentor. She's my mom. And we've walked looking at her and doing what she expects of us to do. She doesn't have to come and make noise to us, you know. And the administration, all the askaris in committee, initially people thought committee was very wild. But I remember in 2008, as she's told you, things changed. And in 2000 to 2003, when our money came in, and things changed and the doors were open, we started interacting regularly with people from the outside, and they got to see a different page. I don't know how many people in this congregation have been to prison, but I'd love to invite them to visit prisons, because Madam Wanini has opened the doors with all our officers, all prison officers countrywide. They've opened the doors. They have an open door policy. So you can easily go into prison and know firsthand, without us telling you here, because someone would think we are doing PR for the prisons department. But I've lived it 18 years, this is how I am. And I thank God. If you're not for God and for what's happened within the prisons, I couldn't be like here.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, tell us about education. You've made some achievements while you were there. Tell us a bit about that.
Not only me, but my colleagues as well. And I thank the prisons administration for giving us the opportunity. You know, there's so many things that were brought with the reforms program. So Madam told us, grab whatever comes your way. You know, I've done barbering, I've done restorative justice, I've done theology, we started the secondary school in committee, but I also felt at a certain point I needed to fight for my justice. So I went back to school. I'm studying at the University of London. I did my diploma in law, and I just have 3 units left, and I clear my degree in law.
Hey, how about that? 3 more units, but you were also representing people, from what I heard.
I was assisting. I've been assisting even before I trained as a paralegal. I was trained by Kituo cha Sheria. She also brought Kituo cha Sheria to committee from Mombasa. She's been working with her team. So the encouraging thing is that whatever opportunities we're given in prisons, it's upon you. If you want to grab them, you grab them and use them productively. If you just chill there and say that life is over, it's up to you. Yeah. So to some of us who decided to take that opportunity, let me thank her today, because she promoted me to be a trustee after 1 year out of death row. Normally we take 3 years, but I remember at that time there were some issues in committee, and she used to come sometimes even in 6 in the evening, just to talk to guys. She's never used the rungu on us. So she used to talk to us, and men, we like praising ladies. So we are like, okay.
Hugo, you are not serious.
No, I have to say one positive.
I think you just had a soft spot for the women. Eh?
Not exactly, but Madam, you'll agree with me that since you introduced the ladies to be part of your staff in the prisons department, discipline levels have gone very high.
Exactly.
Oh.
Clap for that, for us.
Yeah, and so as we were going through that, and I want to thank the chaplaincy also. I want to acknowledge them very much, because I remember when committee was not committee, I told the then officer in charge, Mr. Maweo, that the only thing that would help change us was spiritual and educational. And we shared with Pastor Gitonga, who's now in Nyeri, the same thing. And he went and told the boss. I couldn't reach the boss at that time. But I thank God that whatever initiatives we came up with, even though we were in death row, they were taken on board. And the ones that were working were supported.
Yeah.
You know, in 2005, I remember when Kenyans were starving and there was a big famine and the president gave a passionate appeal. We managed to raise food from committee. We decided to fast. You know, we mobilized inmates in committee, and Madam with her team in Mombasa, the information went to the commissioner then, and he passed the information. They said, guys on death row in committee want to donate their food to assist Kenyans who are fasting. And so this is something that came from God, you know, and I've always believed that if God stands for you in an endeavor, it will always succeed. So when we reached there, they said, they call it kukoma. Like if you go on hunger strike, it's not allowed in the prisons department. You have to eat your food, because if you don't eat it, they'll force you to eat it. You know, so at that time, we said we are not on hunger strike. We just want to assist our colleagues. And then the prison took it up. We're about 3,500 in committee at that time. It cascaded all upwards to it went up to the commissioner. All prisons decided, okay, we're going to do that. And the staff graciously, they said, okay, if inmates are donating, we're also going to donate part of our salary. And we did that. You know, we donated that too.
Excellent, excellent. There are people here who are wondering, so you are on death row, how come you are sitting here?
You know,
tell them the good news.
Yeah, just like Madam said, I went to prison due to system failure. And I say that in a technical language. I had an opportunity. If I wanted to be bitter, I could have been very bitter. If I wanted to commit suicide and lose it, I could have done that. But I left a 3-year-old girl and a 5-year-old boy who I felt needed to know the truth on the reasons upon which I was taken to prison. And it was a bit hard on me, you know. But I want to thank God that I never lost any friend. I made more friends. I met more influential people, impactful people, let me say, in my life. And what happened was, after 8 years, I hadn't seen my children for 8 years. And I didn't know where they were. Just one word, that time I was on death row, execution block. You know, there's the death row and there's an execution block. So I'd moved from the death row and I was in the execution block.
Meaning you are closer to death.
Yeah,
I mean,
you're closer to the
the hangman's nose was somewhere, that screen.
Wow.
You just walk. I mean, it's the same building, so just a few meters away. But that never scared me, because I believed, I worship a living God. So the basic thing was that 8 years later, I hadn't seen my children. And as Madam has said, the open door policy allowed us to interact. And I just asked one of the warders, could you assist me trace my children? Because their identity had been changed, everything had been changed about them, and I didn't know where they were. I suspected I knew where they were. And this warder moved from committee on his own expense, at the time when we thought all warders were brutal. And he went and surveyed and told me, I think I've noticed where your kids are, though the names are a bit different. So I told them, okay, fine, we'll wait. When they cleared class 8, by God's grace, they managed to pass. They had to go to school. And my daughter told me, when she came for the first time, I couldn't recognize her. She had now grown into a big girl, 13-year-old, 12-year-old, 13. And when Mom brought her to committee, I was like, who are you, you know? It was very embarrassing. That's the saddest moment of my life in prison. But once we reconnected, she went through high school with her brother. And when we had challenges, I had challenges once they cleared their high school, because they wanted to go to university, and the courses they had been admitted to were not the ones they wanted. My daughter wanted to be a lawyer to get her dad out of prison. My son wanted to be an engineer or a medical doctor. Mm-hmm. And so what happened? I talked to the boss, who talked to Madam Wanini, who talked to the boss, and they did one wonderful thing, the first Harambee in prisons. Yeah, and so as I speak today, my daughter and son should be graduating on 2nd December.
Wow.
Yeah, and I thank God for that, because I remember Madam Wanini and the prisons department have been saying, we've been taking you through courses. We've done all we can, but you guys are stuck here with us. And there's a time she even complained publicly to the Attorney General and the team, the Power of Mercy team. How will people know we are working if the people we've worked on are not being released from prison? And we felt the pain she felt. And I took a leap of faith. I wrote to the president. Now,
In prison, that's only in prison where you can write a letter to the president.
and so when I wrote this letter, I gave it to my officer in charge, Mr. Kisingu, who looked at it and he said, there's no problem with this. Let me forward it. And of course, they took it up the chain. And on 25th October, Madam Wanini again, she was in civilian that day. She came with the commissioner and told me that the president has approved your request with 102 others. And now you're a free man.
Yeah.
I mean, I wish we had 2 hours,
Yeah.
but we want to land this plane. I want you to speak to the leaders here. And I know you've had challenging moments. I know, from individuals, from the system, I imagine the bureaucracy of the organization, the structures. What are some of your leadership principles? And as a leader, if you don't hold on to 1, 2, 3 things, there's no way you will make it. Give us a few of your leadership principles.
Thank you very much. You must be very patient. For me, working in prisons, I needed to be very, very patient. You need to be passionate. Do you really love what you're doing? You need to take risks, because if you don't take risks, then you'll be stuck. Yeah. For us, we would be stuck in a closed door system. And you need to humble yourself. To humble yourself. So sometimes in leadership, we get to where I am and where some of you leaders are, and people can't reach you. You need to be reachable. And I'm speaking to the church where sometimes the reverends and the pastors, we can't reach you. We need to reach you people. We don't need, yeah, it's true. I go to church and sometimes I can't reach my pastor. And then we need to humble ourselves. We need to be very prayerful. We need to be role models. We can't be preaching what? While we are taking? Hey, you're very good students. So we need to be role models, good examples to be emulated by others. And I think that sums it all. Yeah. And be a good listener. Be a good listener, a good decision maker. And above all, be prayerful. And once you put yourself in the presence of God, then you never go wrong. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, Madam Wanini, yes, you want to say something? Go ahead.
There's just a word I wanted to add to every single leader here. You're ordained by God and God has called you for a purpose. There's an initiative we started in committee in 2007 called Crime See Poor. Crime See Poor means crime is not cool. And what happened was we noted that 70% of the new inmates were the youth. As we are speaking today in committee prison, we could be talking about hardcore criminals in committee. But if you go to committee, you realize that out of every 10 new inmates, 6 are sexual offenders. And sex offense is a societal problem that we don't want to address, that we don't want to talk about, that we keep hiding there, and it's happening in our houses and homes, and some of us are involved in it directly or indirectly. And I think we just have to come out and save the girl child and the young boys who are going through a very tormenting and tough life. The basic thing is that if you don't protect that kid, he grows bitter or she grows bitter, and she becomes or he becomes a real criminal. So as a church, I think we have to get out of our comfort zones. We have to talk to the youth. Since I came out, I've hardly rested. I've been meeting the youth on a daily basis, and my colleagues out here, they told me, you're not going to rest. We don't want you to get into any celebratory mood, because God didn't get you out here to celebrate. God got you out to work. And so we're just asking everybody here, if you want to talk about crime in your hood, if you want to talk about the challenging issues, go to our Facebook page, like the Crime See Poor page, or go to Facebook page like Crime Watch Kenya, which has updates on criminal incidences and localities. You can also like us at Twitter at Crime See Poor. And then we'll keep the conversation going.
So you had Twitter,
How do you like
not
your
Twitter.
product? Our product.
Yeah.
He's already on Twitter. Ouko, you are more digital than me.
Like Churchill said, we hope you are not one of the ones who's been sending those SMSs, eh?
I have to address that. By the way, I have to address that. Because I'd like to invite you to committee which has the best jammers, telephone jammers from Israel.
Yeah.
You know, we have a past. And I always say, in all forums I've gone to, we've had that past. We can't run away from it. People in committee and in other prisons and even amongst you sent texts. I've seen university students out here telling their parents that they've been kidnapped, and yet all they want is money to go out. We've seen it happening. So let's not profile committee. Committee moved from that ages ago.
To study law and other important things. Madam Wanini, your parting shots as we conclude this session.
I want to ask all of you, those who have not visited prisons through the church, your church, you're most welcome. Come in. We still need soap. We still need tissue. We still need your word of encouragement. And our chaplaincy services, I want to thank you greatly because of opening the doors to many churches and confirming to me that these are genuine churches and they can come in. So the congregation is welcome to prison, and stay away from crime. As Ouko is saying, stay away from crime. And Ouko, we are proud of you.
Yes.
We are very proud of you. And thank you very much also for giving me this opportunity to speak to Kenyans in this forum. Thank you, and God bless you all.
God bless you.
So I would like to ask Pastor to give Ouko a present first. Thank you so much, our brother, for allowing God to work in you, to reform you. And I'll ask our sister Janet to give the rest, but I'd like to point out something. Because of Madam Wanini's work in allowing GLS to be in the prison,